And even to the beginning of this year with some of the drama with the GSP stuff, you've talked about wanting to get rid of, all the nonsense aside from fighting. Was, all the way back to 05 and 04 when you got into squabble with UFC and Dana, and then up to this year, was it kind of all, building to a point where you're like, this is just a waste of my time?
Well, one, it was a waste of my time, and two, I looked back, I was thinking forward to the future and just sitting down there and somebody asking me, what was it like, how was it? And I didn't want to have all those bad and negative memories. I wanted it to be good and happy stuff. Or like, yeah, man, I used to be a UFC fighter. Like, nah, don't lie. Like, no, I used to be a UFC fighter. I used to do all these things, and really I wanted to have something I could be proud about, talk to my kids about, or just people in general. I just wanted it to be a good vibe.
Did the stuff in Philadelphia after the fight, did you think about that before, or did it just hit you at that moment? You're like, I love the fans.
No, it hit me before. It hit me the day of the fight. I was just hanging out, and I was just kind of like, I don't feel so good. Today's the fight day. It's like the best day and the worst day of your life, and just hanging out. And I'm like, just enjoy this thing, man. Just this is probably why you do it, because you don't feel good. There's nothing else in the world that can make you feel this bad. Just enjoy this thing and really harness it.
So have you seen it translate in the cage? You walk in with a more relaxed attitude, that it just makes you a different fighter?
Well, I don't know about that. We're going to find out on Saturday night.
Yeah.
A lot of times people, they want to see me walk out in a certain way or do this and that, but every night's different, and we just got to play it by ear and see how it goes.
We've talked a lot this week about Diego and the way he carries himself. You've called him weird. People think he's strange. He's comfortable with it. Do you think in a way, is it a facade to kind of get himself fired up, to, if there's any lack of confidence, to kind of cover it up?
I don't know if it's a facade. Maybe that's how he is. Maybe it's not. But you wonder certain things, because Diego really likes to let people know how spiritual he is. And if you're real spiritual, maybe I'm spiritual, but I wouldn't let anybody know. And if he's real spiritual, maybe he wants to get the word out there. And it's just different people do different things. I mean, he said it, not me. He said it's a facade.
No, I didn't.
I'm just playing.
Well, do you think in some ways that now he's playing it up a little bit, because now it's become part of his character? People are mentioning the fist pump and everything. He's got me confused. I don't know what's going on. Well, you've got me confused a little bit too, because he's usually a guy who's engaging in a lot of trash talk. You've almost done none for this. So how come Diego, and in the past you always did it, but with Diego you've paid him mostly respect, and you just said you're just trying to blame me for something negative. What's happened to you? That used to get you fueled and fired up.
No, I am fueled and fired up, but I'm just holding it inside. I'm fueled. All the stuff that he said, it's pissed me off. I don't like it. I don't like anything about it, and it's pissed me off. But I realize what I got to do is I got to get in there and I got to beat him. I can come up here and I can say all these things, and I'm sure later on in my career I will get into tons of more war of words with different people, but I really want this fight. I never talked about it or said it much, but I've actually wanted to fight Diego for a long time, so I really want this fight.
Good deal. And you guys had a fight on the table a while back at 170, and it never came through. So this has been something you've been looking forward to for at least a couple years.
You know what? He talks about that fight at 170, but maybe my managers were notified, but I never knew about that fight. I'm sure he's not lying, but I never knew about that fight happening, and I think I got a title shot or something. That's what he's saying. So. It's probably true, but I never knew about it.
So in some ways, all that fire that he has, especially when he's coming in and, the Guida fight, he gets out there and he throws like 60 punches right off the bat. Is that something that you can actually play off because it's overly aggressive?
You know what? I could say 1,000 things. We're going to have to see what Diego comes out. Is he going to run across the ring? Is he going to fight like he fought Koscheck? We're gonna find out.
Yeah. I think Koscheck got in his head. I think actually Koscheck snapped him before that fight. I remember watching the weigh-in and Koscheck just standing there with earphones and glasses, and you could see Diego kind of crack a little bit because it wasn't working on Koscheck. So a lot of it is a mental game.
It's all mental. This whole thing, 99%.
All right, well, for you, mental is also physical with Marv. You got to tell us how, because Marv Marinovich, for the most part, I got to tell you, in the sports world, after what happened with his son, and his son kind of had a rough time after he made him into the super athlete. He was kind of a joke to some people, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, he's popped up in MMA, he's training one of the elite guys, this guy's buying into it. So how did you meet Marv, and what was said to you where you were like, boy, this guy has something going on?
Well, I met Marv through a mutual friend, and then I worked out with Marv once. I went home to Hilo. I was just trying to please my brother and my managers just to let me go home. So I was like, I worked out with him for the day, then I went down to Hilo. And then I started doing stuff that I haven't done in years when I was training. And I thought, could that be Marv? I don't know. And then I was like, you know what, Judy, let's go try a week with him. And we did it for a week, and then I just realized this guy's the best ever. And I think everybody talks about Marv as a joke because he's not doing what everybody else is doing. He's not doing those 5-minute rounds, 1-minute switch. He's not, all that stuff. That's the fad right now. And he doesn't do that stuff, and that's why everybody probably looks down on him. Oh, he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's really above everybody else. It's something to see this guy's brain. He came down to Hilo. This is just to show you how dedicated he is. He came down to Hilo, and he didn't leave the house. All he came to was the gym. He didn't leave the house once. All he did was sit there with his brother. They're both 70 years old, 169, I think they're 71 and 70 now, and all they do is talk about the training all day. They didn't go, I'm like, come on, you want to go see where Captain Cook, when the first whites and the Polynesians met each other? They don't want to go anywhere. They just sit there. That's all they do is talk about training, and that's why they're where they are.
And the most important thing is you bought into it, which I don't know that you ever did with anyone else.
You know what? I bought into it, and it gives me a level of, whether it works or not, it gives me a level of confidence that helps this out, and I'm mentally ready there.
All right, good deal.